Hello, welcome everyone. Today we're going to learn how to build a responsive pop-up in Elementor page builder, right? We're going to learn how to create a pop-up like this with all these form informations, drop downs, and all of these information intact to make it easy for users to actually access a form and fill it without going to a different page. You can also use this for a menu, right? When users can click on the hamburger and they can actually visit different kind of menu. We are not going to actually be learning how to create this menu separately. I'm just trying to teach you how to create pop-up. All these menus and the form you find here is still the same thing you can find in a normal section, right? By the way, we'll be creating all of these in separate tutorials, so stay tuned. But for today, I'm trying to teach you how to create this flyout layout that makes it more easier for users to access informations directly from anywhere in the website, whether in the home page, about us page, contact us page, without having to visit a separate page for that. And by the way, let's talk about today's sponsor.
Today's video is brought to you by Breakdance, the modern visual website builder for WordPress. It's easy for beginners to learn and powerful enough for the most advanced professionals. Breakdance is loaded with lots of features, including a premium pre-made template library, a robust form builder, AI content writing capability, a versatile pop-up builder, and a seamless WooCommerce integration. Whether you're just starting up your WordPress journey or you are seasoned pro looking for a better builder for your agency, now is the perfect time to build a better website with Breakdance. Try it today and experience the Breakdance difference.
So here are a few things we need. First thing, you have to get into your Elementor page builder. Hover until you find the template layout. You see the pop-up option, click on that. And from here, we need to create a new template, right? So click on add new template. If you already have an existing template you want to import, click on import and choose the JSON file from here. But for now, we are creating a new pop-up template. Click on that and we want to name it for form, right? And we can call this so it can be more specific. Let's call it form kata because we'll be needing this name in the future. So click on create template and we have to wait a couple of moments for Elementor to load that interface. Perfect. So now we actually are loaded to this particular template layout and we have multiple pop-up form that we can find from here. You can choose whichever one you need from there. And by the way, you can only see this or have this option for pop-up creation if you are using the Elementor Pro version. You can see multiple versions. If we choose this one here, you see it's sliding out from the left. We see the center one. We see all of these options. You can also preview them to see what they look like before you can actually proceed to using that particular template. See what it looks like from over here. You can insert it from here and you are good to go to start building with a layout that is already existing. But today we are going to build that out from scratch. So once you close that out, you're going to be faced with this dummy layout, which looks scary, I must say. And by the way, I'm going to show you some kind of logical conditions you can use for your pop-up. So in cases where you just want the pop-up to function like something like this, let me show us very quickly. Look at what I'm talking about. When you try to exit the website, this pop-up appears from here where you can fill in this. But the website itself is in coming soon mode and very soon you'll be able to see it. You can check that out, wordcosmeticslimited.com. That's the website we are building for a client. So you see, when you actually try to hover out of the website, you see that option comes out. You can close it down from here and proceed what you're doing. So there are many conditional logic we can use for pop-up. But for this one, we are trying to integrate it to a button where if we click a certain button, the function actually prevails. Now, this particular one is in the middle. You can say, what should I do from here? Should I start dragging things in here? That's not what you should do first. First thing I will advise you to do is to click on the setting option from here. From this setting option is where we can now control everything about this form. If you want the form to go to the right side, click on this. You see, it goes to the right side, the left side, and the middle, right? We want it to go to the right side and we want it to come beneath it. You see, we want it to go above and we want it to be in the middle. Okay, here is where we control the width of this particular element, depending on what width we want for the content we want, right? So you can say fit to content, you can say fit to screen, or we say custom. This is the height. Now we're talking about the height from here to this bottom part. Now we want to fit it to screen. It's actually going to fit to any screen actually that it's actually displaying on. But if we keep it at custom, we have the flexibility to customize the height the way we want. I hope you understand that. So perfectly fine. Let's go with what? Fit to screen because we want to control things the way we want. Right? Perfect. So now, as you can see, we can start building, but no. there are a little more things we need to learn about this particular pop-up. Now let me take you through a little tour about some other things you need to do. By the way, if you can proceed from here by tossing in your sections and then building out the things you want, depending on how you want to build them out, right? You can say you want to build up a form, can drag in the form into the section. Make sure you drop a section first before you proceed with the rest of that, right? Now that's good. Now I want to keep this here, so I will show you something in a couple of moments. Now we click on the settings once again. We can go in here and now we see overlay. Overlay means this dark area that is prevailing. If we remove it, it means that the color itself will be the main color, and we just need this to be on, and the overlay color, you can darken it a little so that when users actually open this, it will darken the other area and make this only what? Visible. Close button is this one at the edge. Do you want people to click that button for you to close, or you want people to click outside here for you to close? Not everybody knows that you need to click out here. But if you disable the button option, you won't see the button anymore. So we enable that. So users have two options to either close it from here or close it by clicking on the empty space. Animation entrance, how do you want this to enter? Want it to fade in, you just fade in. Exit, want it to also what? Fade out. Okay, fade in, fade out. You can also do it a slide in, slide out. You can do it zoom in, zoom out. You see, slide left, slide right, depending on which one you want. And that for animation entrance, and you can say animation duration, how long do you want that to actually take effect. Going down to settings, we see the title of this form. We can rename it from here. It's on draft. We don't need to publish it. When we hit on the publish button, it's actually what activates. And from here, we can leave it as div. We don't need to set anything from there. It's not the header, it's not the footer. It's a section, but you can leave it at div as it is. Preview setting, preview dynamic content as recent posts, data. No, these are not necessary. Now let's move into the styling section of this particular pop-up. So the pop-up first section, we have the background type. We want to set a background color. You can now set it from here. The background color is talking about this color from over here. So when we select on this, we can decide to make it pure yellow. The background itself will be just yellow, but we don't want that. Just want it a little bit of gray and the white color from that other end. The image, if you want to plug an image inside this background, I don't know the reason why you need to do that. The border, we don't need that. Border radius, we don't need that also. Sometimes you can have a border radius where you have this curved here and this area curved. You can do that with the border radius. Let me just show you what that means. You see, you can decide to select a specific place to curve, maybe the top, left and right, and then disable the other one for this end and this other end. Right? Perfect. So we don't want any border radius, and we want to close this down. Shadow, we can leave shadow because shadow makes it effective so that it will be darker in this area than it is darker in this area. Overlay is this dark color from we have from here. You see the transparency option. You can make it pure black, okay, and we can make the transparency lighter depending on what you want to build. You can also choose a different color from there and make the transparency as you want. If you want to make it an image, you can also choose an image from here. The close button, do you want it to be inside or outside? If you place it outside, it's going to be outside the box itself. If you place it inside, it's going to be inside the box. I wonder why it's not even taking effect, but I'm going to show you what that means when we try to control that. Now, there are one thing we need to do. Select on this particular section. We want to push this particular content down. Go to advanced. Already you know what to do from there. On the padding section, you have to pull it down a little so that we can see the X button separated from what? The column from here. And in the padding left and right, we want to make left and right padding at least 20 pixels each. Bottom, we make it 20 pixels. Right, we make it 20 pixels. But the top side should be more because the top side will have to what? Give a space for this particular content. Now we go back to that X option, scroll down, and we see the close button. We want to move the vertical position. Vertical position is even correct where it is. I like the way the place where the vertical position is. Is the horizontal that I want us to move to the center like this. You see? Like this. Fine. So I can align well with the content we have from here. Okay? Again, we can also decide the size of the what? X close button by what? Increasing or decreasing it from here. But one option we don't have is setting a particular icon for the button, which I think Elementor should improve in that. But that, by the way, you can create your own button itself. When I will teach you the other way to do this, the more easier way to do the pop-up. I'm going to show you that in our future tutorial. Let me not just get there now. So we have the close button is inside, and then the vertical positioning, we have dealt with that. By the way, if you don't know what vertical positioning and horizontal, you can place it anywhere you want to be, but it should be at the top corner side, right? Then the color itself is, what color do you want for the X itself? We want to make it brown, and the background color, you can put a background on that X, a 4-corner background if you want to. Let's say black, and then we can now select and make it white. I wonder why we will even do that also. I don't even like that at all. So the background itself, switch this back to brown, and the background itself, we want to make it transparent. Okay, perfect. So we have the size, we have everything set, and our pop-up is ready. It's just ready. There's no big deal here. There's nothing much we have to do from here. And if you are wondering why is the form so ugly, I'm going to import the form we already created from the other one or from the other side. So click option and we paste the form I already created. See the beautiful form? See how beautiful the whole section now looks, right? We now have the form, we have the drop down, and so on and so forth. So, but you need to create your own form, style your own form the way you want. I'm going to teach you guys, and by the way, I've made a tutorial on how to style form or how to customize or configure forms. I don't want to take us too much of time to process this. And by the way, we need a little more padding at the bottom part of this form. So we go to padding area at the bottom side should be 20, not 2. Fine. So you can use WhatsApp from here if the client wants you to use WhatsApp as an option for contacting them. So we have our X button, we have our form, and we have our stuffs. So we now need to do what we call publish. And now when we publish, you see it brings 3 conditions. Condition based on what? Logics, condition based on triggers, and condition based on advanced rules. And I might want to go in over this one after the other, but it will take this tutorial, make this tutorial too long. What we are doing doesn't have any concern with what you are seeing right here. Okay, what we are doing is about the button, how to connect this to the button, right? But I'm going to still show you what this simply means in a very, very brief instance. You see, we must, when you select a condition, you must have to set it. Where do you want this particular form to appear? If you want it to appear to a singular page, like the home page alone, select on the singular, go to singular area and switch this to pages, and go over here, then type on home, which means anywhere this button, this form is clicked or triggered, it will not open except is the home page, right? But for this one, we want to make it for all of the entire website. Anywhere the button appears and it's triggered, it should appear there. You can add more conditions depending on what you want. I'm going to teach you guys conditions, custom conditions for templates in the future. So that's for condition. You can click on next, take us to trigger. Now, how do you want this particular form to appear? On page load, when page load, it automatically appears. You see some of the forms or some of the pop-up that when you load the page, it just appear in front of you. That is this option. When you enable this, it will appear, but you have to tell it how many seconds do you want it to appear. You can tell it to appear in 7 seconds, and that is it. If you want it to appear in 1 minute, you tell it to appear in 60 seconds. But we don't want this option. On scroll, you can tell it to when you scroll down to a particular pixel, scroll down to a particular pixel, it will trigger. On scroll on elements, on scroll to elements, when you scroll to a particular section or to a particular button, it will appear. On click, okay, when you click on something, it will appear. When you enable this option, it will ask for how many clicks do you want this to appear. If you click once, if you click again, it won't appear. But if you make it 2 times click, if you make it unlimited click, if you keep clicking on that same element, it will keep appearing, right? But that's not what the option we are going to be using. After inactivity, if you don't use if you don't browse the website for like 30 seconds, the pop-up will appear. This is the option. On page exit intent, that's the one I use for this particular website, where I try to exit the website and the pop-up automatically appear. For instance, watch what happens. I am browsing through the website, nothing happens, right? But when I move my mouse up as if I want to exit the website, the pop-up appears. That's the option for the page exit intent. On page exit intent, that's it here. Then add block detection. This is just an option in case you want the user to be able to use an ad blocker to disable every pop-up. You are giving the user an option in case they install an ad blocker plugin, they can disable this particular option. You are giving that enablement from there, right? When we are done with that, we don't want to do anything from here. You can click on next, okay? Then here is advanced rule. Show after X page view. When you view a particular page, maybe you view the About Us page, show this form automatically. Show after X session. How long do you want to stay in the website? Then you show show up to X times. How many times do you want this form to show? When archived from the specific URL, when arriving from specific URL. For instance, you are running an advertisement on Instagram or Facebook. When somebody visits the website from Facebook, you can tell it to what? To only apply on what? Facebook.com. I hope you get the point now. So we disable that. Show when arriving from where? From the About Us page, from Contact Us page. If you enable this, it will enable that option for you. From search engine, from external link, or from what? Internal links, depending on one you want to. You can disable anyone you want from here and enable anyone you want also. Right? Hide for logged in users. When users are logged in, don't show this particular pop-up. Show on devices. When it is on mobile device, show. When it's on desktop device, don't show. This is the option also. Show on browser. Facebook, show on Chrome, don't show on Mozilla Firefox, don't show on Opera Mini, and all of that. You can see all of those custom options. You can integrate the option you want from here. Schedule date and time. If you want it to show at a specific date and time, okay, specific date you want to show from this date to this date, you set it. You see automatically when people visit within that period of time, that pop-up will show, depending on how many times you want that pop-up to show within that period of time. So you need to condition it on multiple variables. So you have to condition this one, then condition this one. So most of the variable here need their counterparts to function well. Because if you enable this option, when anybody refresh the page, it will show again. Refresh, it will show. Refresh, it will show. And that will be very disturbing. You don't want that for your clients. When we are done with all of these things, the main thing, if you are making sure that we are adding this particular option to only a button, we make sure the condition is set to entire website. That's the only thing we need to do. Click on next, and click on what? Save and close. You don't need to do anything from there. But if you want the form to pop up automatically, that is when we go through those other processes. Hooray, your pop-up is live. Now let's move on to the home page. So now we can set up our pop-up to function very well based on what we want. So to differentiate this pop-up from the one we created initially, we have to delete this option. We have to delete the WhatsApp option so that we have only this form, so we can separate it from the one we have existing. We have another existing one, so we don't make mistake thinking we activated something else. So now we are going to drop in a button from here. You can do this any way you want. You can use the button, you can use a section, you can use anything at all. So we drop in a button from here. I'm not going to style this as I style this one, right? I'm just trying to show you something how to do this. I don't even like the color of this button at all. So let's make it just button yellow and the background, make it black. It's too dark. Let's make the background black, the background yellow, and then the text black. Fine. So when we are done setting up the button itself, what we need to do, some persons we just go thinking they fill in some information from here. No, you don't need to do anything from this end. Okay, what you need to do is click on the dynamic tag from here, scroll down till you find the option that says pop up here. Click on that and then click on this wrench icon or click anywhere from here. Just click on it and you're going to see this option that says action. What do you want this button to do? If we never had a close button, we could have two buttons, one for opening the pop-up and one for closing the pop-up, which means we could also create the button itself with a custom form icon in that particular form we created and enable it for being the closing option, which I'm going to show you in the future tutorial we are going to be doing. And this one, we want it to open pop-up and we have to select the pop-up title from here. So we call kata and we see kata form. Select on that. It have already triggered the form option from here. Now all you need to do is to save this option and we'll go to the front end. And whenever we click on this button, it opens that particular option for us. And we click on this X button, it closes it. You see, it fades in and it fades out. Perfect, right? So this is simply how to create a button. You can set it up. You see the one I set up for this one have a WhatsApp icon, but the one we set up for this one don't have a WhatsApp icon. They have different animation entrance and so on and so forth. Set up your form and make it easier for users to actually access anything they want to access. If you check it out, we need to make it responsive on mobile. What you need to do is scroll down until you get to the lowest breakpoint or the breakpoint where it didn't perform very well. Let's delete this. Right, like on mobile, check it out very well. Mobile looks very nice and everything is responsive from this end. We can also check that out from the front end. We inspect it, close down on this, right, and we scroll down till we can't even find that particular option because this particular section is hidden on mobile. this section is hidden on mobile. Responsiveness hidden on mobile. So you enable it again. We have to do it for the one last time. Go back here, click option and inspect. It's gonna refresh now so you can see the button. So scroll down, click on it. You see the button appears. Click to close it. Click on it, appears, and the animation entrance and exit is too much. Don't make your animation take too long, right? This, by the way, this is a beautiful website you're building for a client. As you can see, very beautiful and sleek. See the coming soon, the roadmap, very beautiful section. And by the way, like I was saying, if you actually are building up this thing, don't make the animation entrance and exit too much. The animation we use there is too much, right? So you have to reduce the animation. Close button, and the speed of the animation, where did we find that before now? Pop-up. Okay, you're gonna find that from wherever we found that. I think it is it's not in close button, it should be in settings area. Animation duration, reduce that very well. Okay, we don't want it too much. So this is simply how to create a form. First off, let's recap. You go to your Elementor dashboard and you actually what? You go to Elementor dashboard, you hover until you find the option that says pop-up. Click on it. You see our second pop-up we created have actually appeared. Click on add new pop-up and you set your name. Once you're done, you come to this part where you can what? You have the ability or the capability to what? Control the element, the area you want them to actually align. Whether you want them to go to the top, to the bottom, to anywhere you want them to be. It best fits what you want. When you are done, go to the styling, style out the things the way you want and start dropping in your content. Make sure you give it a padding top so that it will be spaced out from this X button. And when you're done, go to the page where you want to integrate that button into. Select on the button, click on the wrench, the icon at the end of this area, then select on pop-up and then click on the wrench icon and select which pop-up. Type the name of that pop-up you just created. That's why we said at the beginning of this that the name is very important. Type it out here and select on it. Automatically it will trigger that option. If you want a close button, you click on this and duplicate it. This option, instead of being an open button, you can select on this, select on pop-up, and instead of being an open button, you can make this a close button and enable it. So automatically the action will what? Close if the pop-up is open. But you don't need this option at all since we already have our pop-up option as an X at the end of that particular form area. I hope you enjoyed this. By the way, if you actually enjoying our lessons in this particular channel, there are many more lessons like this. Feel free to watch, share to friends, and also feel free to subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. Once again, my name is Manuel from Kata Studios. Do have a wonderful day.